Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. As always, I'm your host, Tony DeMakis from Alliance Specialties and Laser Sales, where we are mold makers that don't build molds. We do all the other stuff that mold makers don't have the time or the patience or the ability to do. Polishing, laser welding, laser engraving, hot runner repair, preventative mold maintenance. And we also build and sell laser welding and engraving equipment in our Prairie Grove facility, where we have a production welding department as well. So when it comes to manufacturing, we like to say we do that too. All the things. And if we don't do it, we know somebody that does. So whatever that situation might be that you're looking for, let us help you. We want to be a help to you and to your company and just make things a little bit easier for you and find ways to serve you. Today's show is going to be a little bit different. Mitch Free was supposed to be here, but he had some technical difficulties, so we're going to reschedule that one. So what do you get this week? You get Jack and I again. You get father and son time, connecting, and we're going to dive back into a conference that we were at last week. But before we do that, we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping notes. So we want to ask you to like and subscribe to the show. We want you to push this out to other people. We want to keep growing the show and the brand, and tell the stories that you guys want to know, answer the questions that you're hoping to get answered, whether that is leadership, whether that's manufacturing, whether that's sustainability, whatever it is, we want to talk to you about it. And so if you or somebody you know has a story that you think should be told, we want to hear about it. We want to have you on the show and be part of the Manufacturing Alliance. In a couple weeks, we are going to be out at IMTS. That is September 9th through the 14th. I'm sorry. It's in Chicago, Illinois. It is one of the largest machining and manufacturing shows in the country. And we are fortunate enough to have it in our backyard in Chicago, Illinois. And so we are really, really close to having confirmation about our E210 event that we're going to be having. I have one or two more phone calls that I have to make to solidify some things, but it's going to be different. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be really hands-on. It's going to fit those people that like to work with their hands and give back to those that are less fortunate. So we're really looking forward to that. We are also going to be launching two new laser welding machines there. One of them is called the ARC. It is, it's pretty cool. It is a cabinet style laser welding system that has a scan head for production welding. It's pretty awesome. We're going to be doing demos with that. And then we also have the new and improved ID1 UR system built out on a much bigger table and platform than we've ever done before. It's going to be really exciting, and that's going to be front and center at the show. And we're going to have three laser engraving systems. One of them is called the Advantage, and then we're going to have two smaller desktop units called the Spark. And we're going to be launching all of that at IMTS. So get ready for that. While we're there, if you see a machine that you are interested in and you think, I was going to buy a machine, but I would also rather maybe spend that money on giving back to the community, you're in luck. We have a way for you to do both. So with every machine sold that we build, we are going to be donating and giving some money to end human trafficking. We're working with the Tim Tebow Foundation, and every Alliance ID1 or laser engraving system that we sell, a portion of that sales will be going to end human trafficking. And that's something that really, really we're really passionate about in our quest to try and make a difference and make an impact. The other way we're doing that is through playing golf. And you may say, how does that work? Well, we are working with our friends and our partners at iWarriors to give iPads to combat wounded veterans so that they can talk to their loved ones when they're in rehab or they're overseas. There are special PTSD apps and stress apps that are on the iPad specifically. And so we want to raise as much money as possible so that we can give back to our combat wounded veterans. If you are interested, we are still looking for sponsors. We're still looking for golfers. And in order to fill that out, all you got to do is go to alliancelasersales.com/golf, and you can be part of the experience. If you don't remember that, there is a QR code on the screen. and you can just scan that and it will take you right there. Spots are filling up. We sell out every year. I have no doubt that we're going to sell out again this year. And so if you're not registered yet, you should make sure to get registered. It's going to be a great time for everybody. We also have some upcoming shows. We do. Yeah. We have some upcoming shows. Mitch Free, that is a lie. He was supposed to be here today, but like I said, oh, he is here. Mitch is here. Hold on one second, Mitch, and we'll get you in. Mitch is here. So we're going to have Jack, myself, and Mitch. But aside from that, we're going to have Jacob Sanchez on August 21st, David Ramirez on August 28th. September 4th, Justine Ewald from the TMA. We're going to be talking about something special that we're doing. September 11th, we will be at IMTS, but we may have a show, and if we do, it'll be a special guest. The 18th is Amanda Wallen from Chemical Methods, and then the 25th, my guy Rich Teal from Standard Cutting Solutions. That's all the stuff we got going on. Yeah, let's bring Mitch in and see how he's doing. Let's see. Are we getting there? Oh, hold on. There he is. Hey, Mitch.
Hi there.
Now I need headphones. Hold on. All right. How are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing.
All right. That's good. We had a little bit of technical difficulty with you, but it seems like we got everything worked out now.
Okay. Yeah. Sounds good. Sounds good.
How are things in your...
Thanks for.
They're doing okay?
Yeah. What was that? We stepped over each other.
Oh, I said, how are things in your world, in the Mitch Free world?
They are doing great. Right, busy as heck, and I'm in Atlanta today. That's where Zeke is. So in Atlanta, doing great. We're super busy, like I think everyone in manufacturing is today. I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the goal is for everybody in manufacturing to be really busy. Sometimes that doesn't seem to be the case. I feel like more and more things have tended to go back over to China or overseas after we had the gift of COVID, I'll say, where everything came home for a little while. It seems that people have gotten a little bit more comfortable with the idea of sending things back overseas. Is that something that you've noticed as well?
Not so much is, the majority of the field is ITAR or EAR control, right? So we're pretty focused on things that just they can't be sent over.
Sure.
And I think that's days to be in. So yeah, I think I think that there are probably commercial and more stuff going, continuing to go overseas, but that sort of reflects a shortage of capacity, like in the U.S. in the shops, sort of retooling with aerospace and defense because of the and so
Sure.
I think they're not, certainly there's a contingency that focuses on commercial, but if you focus on commercial, that makes it a little tougher on the margins.
Yeah, that's more where I think that's where we're coming from, and what we're seeing is that we are competing with a world market when it comes to mold repair, mold builds, a lot of things that our customers and our listeners are dealing with. Not everybody's in the area that you are. But before we get into all that, why don't you tell people a little bit about yourself and your company?
Yeah, sure. Well, as you guys know, my name is Mitch Free. I've been in the industry for a long time. I started my career as a machinist out of trade school. I went through a formal apprenticeship in the day, so I was thankful for that. Began on CNC machines right out of trade school. And then I was recruited over to Northwest Airlines to set up rapid manufacturing for aircraft parts. So I set up rapid manufacturing operations within the airline. We start from the supplier or the surplus market, rapidly make it ourselves in order to get the airplanes flying. And the airline to be a project manager in aircraft acquisition. So I led overhaul of those for a number of years to a pretty high level position within the airline. And then had my first opportunity was to start a business as a reseller of CAD and CAM software.
Okay.
Did that for a couple of years, and that into mfg.com, which I founded in 1999. Based on my CAD customers wanting to meet my CAM customers, and so making introductions of people that needed things made to companies that could make it. After one such introduction, I was driving down the road and heard we compete, and I thought someone, and that. So sure. I went home, registered some domains, and I wrote the first over a long weekend, and into a pretty significant global 13 years. I sold part of that in 2005 to Jeff Bezos, part in 2007, the rest to a private equity group in 2013. A year off because I had cancer and needed to recover, and got through that. And two businesses simultaneously, Fast Radius, which is a global, added inside of logistics hubs around the world in partnership with UPS, with the goal to fulfill digital inventory, so SKUs that don't exist, and then deliver the last mile. And then I started Ziki, being a CNC machining business, as I saw a significant opportunity in America to do manufacturing at a high level. That's a quick thumbnail.
That's a lot. Where does the name Ziki come from?
Yeah, it comes from a name that I owned. That's it. So
that's it.
Yeah, years ago, back when you could buy domain names a lot easier, yep. I was sitting in a glass of wine, and I would peruse this website, deleted.domains.com.
Okay. And
when renew or pay their fees, it would show up as soon as it became on deleteddomains.com. A boatload of 3 and 4 letters, and some of them mean nothing. They're like JPRQ or something. But I figured, you know what, somebody's going to want that one day. And so when I started looking for Ziki, I just was browsing that list of names that I own, and I one that I could actually like a pronounceable word out of. And that's where it came from. I didn't want it to be something like, that's brandable. And also it locks you in this model that may not be where you end up. Never end up exactly where you think they will.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And it's rare to do that, right? Like most people think like there's so much in a name, mm-hmm. and there can be, but what you've done is you've taken a word and now you've given it meaning based on just hard work and what you do.
That's right. I remember one time I was having this conversation with Jeff Bezos at one of our quarterly dinners, and he brought up the example of Canadian Tire, who at that point didn't even hire anymore, but it kind of morphed into more of a general hardware store. He's like, but nobody in Canada, they just think about the name, right? And so names become what you make them mean, right?
Yeah.
And I think you want to. Of course, when he thought of Amazon, he thought of some wide, which is what it ultimately became.
Yeah, that's that. I was just talking with one of my business partners about that same idea, because when you look at Alliance Specialties, nobody knows. I mean, it's not in the name, right? Mm-hmm. You have to know more about who we are to understand what it is that we do. And he actually had the opposite take, where he thought maybe we need to rebrand ourselves in a way so that somebody sees the name and now they know exactly what we do. And it's interesting to see that
Yeah.
you've gone the opposite direction and
Yeah.
had success, which is a big part of that also.
Yeah. Because I think it doesn't limit you because you don't know where a business is. I mean, of what things you might take on and things. And so it leaves now, if you've got a business and you're locked in on a business model, you don't think you do services or features. Yeah, maybe it makes sense to, be very, very descriptive in that name, so.
But I think your point is exactly right, that businesses and people change and evolve. And if you lock yourself into that situation, then you're in trouble. Like there's a company that's out by us, and the name of the company was the town that they used to work in. And then
Okay.
they moved, and now they're still named after the town they used to live in or work in. And so it's like,
Yeah,
okay, you're not there anymore. And I don't want to give an exact example because I don't want to throw anybody
sure.
under the bus. But it's crazy to think that that's their name, but that has nothing to do with where they're at anymore. It's a
Right.
So to your point, find a name that you can brand, that you can build around, and then make that word mean something based on who you are, what you do, and what that activity looks like.
Yeah, nobody knew what Google was, Amazon, who was, Uber was, right?
Right. Right. Uber, especially. I mean, what is that? It's a ride share.
Mhm.
Why? Why is that a ride share?
Yeah.
Um, so
And then,
what?
and then, and then,
Go
and then
ahead.
they ventured, right? They ventured
Yeah,
and all sorts of other things. They've been rideshare.com.
correct. Correct. So let me ask you, what are the things that you're most passionate about? What are the things that get you going, that get you fired up to get up in the morning, go to work, and do that
Mhm.
next thing?
I enjoy building businesses. I went through this fourth business. I built and sold 3 prior businesses. It gets a little easy time I've seen the movie, right? The first
Okay.
business super stressful, and each time it gets a little easier, a little more fun. And
Yeah.
so I love building a business to great people, making customers happy, uh, events, just that lights me up.
Yeah.
I feel like we're making a difference in the world of our country and the develop of incredible technology that I get customers are building, and it just enjoys me to it makes things, and I enjoy seeing people grow and customers happy. Awards that come with that.
I think that's the reason that you should do it. All those things that you said, right? There's so many people that they want to start a business because they want to make more money, or they want to have more money, or there's a lot of selfish reasons to that. And I'm sure that's part of it. You've been successful at doing this, right? Starting businesses, building businesses, selling businesses. And so you know what you're doing. You're not doing it because
No,
it's just a good hobby.
one of the sayings I'll use often when I'm mentoring with entrepreneurs or other people, I said that you're passionate about, and don't even think about the money because the money will come. If you love doing it's something you're passionate about, then you're going to be the best at it. You're going to make money at it.
Right.
But if you do something that you don't love, you're going to do it half-ass. You're not going to be the best, and and it's going to be every day, and you're going to be miserable. Just do what it is you like to do. Money find you. That's been
Yeah.
my experience.
Jack and I were just at the Global Leadership Summit in Barrington last week, Thursday, Friday. Um, it's a great conference. I don't know if you've ever been to it. I don't know if you know of it. It's a
Mhm.
great conference. Coach K was there speaking. Some great thought leaders that were there, and a lot of what they said, I would say, is having that passion, right? But not saying
Mhm.
like, if you're passionate about copy machines, then build great copy machines, but find passion in the thing that you're doing. Like, what is it about your job that you can find passion in? Is it serving people? Is it
Mhm.
providing knowledge and information? Is it working with your hands? What is that thing that you are passionate about? It doesn't necessarily have to be that exact um, that exact product or that exact service. But where is
Yeah.
your passion? What is that really rooted in?
Yeah. Oh, right, right.
Right.
And for me, that passion is really just taking something from an idea to a significant business, right?
Sure.
Through business models, the strategy, how to get there, how to keep that team, love that team, and then create, because they have to feel that we're not just idiots every day to send out for the hell of it.
Yeah.
We're doing to the national defense of our company or of our country. Or one of our space customers is launching capsules that are manufacturing drugs in space that significantly bring down the cost of drugs. Right. So we try to talk about the mission, right? Making part. We're making humanity by the thing doing. Just like with
Right.
SpaceX. I don't know if you've ever been to SpaceX, but when you go there, they've got big sign man on Mars and colonize Mars, right? So there's satellites up and other stuff as a to get to. And so I think
Sure.
one of the things that I've always thought about, a mission around a business that's bigger than the day to day that we have to do, and that's just stepping stone.
Yeah, I love that idea. I think that people can rally around a mission, not just like we polish parts. Well, why do we do that? We do that.
Mm-hmm.
We serve the medical community. One of the guys that works for us, he works in the mold repair department, and his wife had a stroke. And while he was there with her, and she was, getting the medication, and she's in the doctor's office in the hospital, he looked over, and the part that we were working on was now saving his wife's life.
Wow.
And so it's not just, is there flash on this mold?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's a bigger deal than that. Is this mold ready to save
Mm-hmm.
somebody's life when we're done with it, so that we can make people and allow people to have a better lifestyle? What impact are we having for our customer and their customer, and then so on and so forth?
Yeah, that's right. People want to spend their day working for something more than just a
Yeah.
paycheck.
Yeah. Well, most people. You do have the people that still just want the paycheck. And that, if
Yeah. You
everybody
know what?
had this grand vision, it'd be amazing. But that is not the world we live in yet.
Yeah, not yet. But I think as an entrepreneur, you're an optimist, and I tend to be, and I believe the best in people, and I believe wants to be successful and so I go with these optimistic blinders on as I think about people in the world and customers.
Yeah, we one of our core values, one of our missions is to make a difference. That's it, like
Mhm.
in a nutshell, and whatever that looks like. And so
Mhm.
we keep trying to find new
Mhm.
ways to do that. And
Yeah.
I saw that movie Sound of Freedom, about the human trafficking. It like broke my heart. And I thought, okay, I'm not going to go and try and fight the bad guys. That's not me. I'm not Rambo. I know my limitations. That's not a thing. What can we do to make a difference? And so, I talked with the team, and what we decided was every machine that we build, a portion of the funds is going to go to the Tim Tebow Foundation to stop human trafficking. It's
Good.
what we can do to make a difference. Um, and
Fantastic.
and the fear that I had in launching that to our team and to customers was based around the idea that people are more concerned about the bottom dollar than they are the mission. And
Mhm.
so, I had this fear, I had this voice. I don't know if you ever get this voice. I hate this
Oh, yeah.
voice. My son and I talk about the voice all the time, and we're like, "Go away, get behind me, Satan." But there's this voice that goes, "You're really going to do that?" And people are going to say, "Oh, you have all this extra money and you can't pay us more," or
Mhm.
"You have all this extra money, you can't give me a discount."
Mhm.
And for a while, it paused us. It stopped me in our tracks saying, maybe this isn't a good idea. Maybe people are going to think that we're trying to do this for the wrong reasons. Maybe people are going to think that this is just a sales tactic. Maybe people are going to think that we're
Mhm.
making too much money and they should just be getting discounts. And I just had to say, well, wait a minute. If this is the right thing to do, then it's the right thing to do.
Yeah.
And time is going to tell.
Right.
And the look on the faces of our team when we announced that was amazing. Because now
Good.
they knew that they were working for something bigger than just selling a machine.
Hmm. Fantastic. Fantastic.
So it's fun. It's fun. You know,
Hmm.
uh, and you've got all these things that you've been parts of, being featured in the Startup Playbook and Makers, the New
Hmm.
Industrial Revolution, co-authoring The Great Disruption, competing and surviving in the second wave of the Industrial Revolution. That's a lot of awesome stuff. I have this dream. I keep telling my son, he's trying to hold me accountable, that I want to write a book one day, but it's so much work.
But what else are you going to do? I'm not one. I don't enjoy golf. And I think I'm just you only have so much time on this planet, right? And do the things that you enjoy, and I enjoy spending time with. I enjoy creating. I enjoy thinking. I enjoy
Yeah.
headed how to do something. People or take advantage of the wisdom that I've gotten along. It is a lot of work, but it didn't get time,
Right.
right? Because when you're doing the old saying, when you're do what you love and you'll never work in a day, right? Never work a
Yeah,
day.
I get it.
And so it's never uh, I'll tell you. So, early on, I always felt like I think that's a common thing, right? As I was, you know, building things, businesses getting bigger and different accolades. I always felt, I'm figuring this out as I go. Does anybody else know that I don't really know what I'm, and then I realized there's a lot of people that feel that way as you start.
Yeah.
I believe it was, or 10. I won. And it was back then, I was like, holy crap, like all these people are. And, later I became a judge the next year. I started judging businesses. And then as I'm talking to them, pretty much,
Right.
because there's no follow when you're building a business or creating something from scratch. And then a little more comfortable that we're all just figuring it out as we go.
Yeah, I think there's been a number of times where I have suffered from, I think people call it imposter syndrome, where,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what I'm doing yet. I'm still trying to figure this out as I go. Each day presents a
Yeah.
new challenge. And I think, you having the books and you have a playbook and you have ideas, but man, you don't know what's going to come next.
No.
You can draw up an idea. It's like
Mm-hmm.
hockey, right? Hockey players have the coaches will go to the bench and they'll draw up a play, or basketball, they draw up a play, but you don't know how the defense is going to respond. And so you can have a concept and an idea, but you better be ready to be flexible and pliable in all situations to be able to shift and adjust, and still stay confident and humble in your decisions.
That's right. That's right. And authentic to use,
Yeah,
right? I think if you're authentic with your employees, with your customers, they appreciate that, right? And they
sure.
realize you're being authentic with you through those times where you made a bad decision or you didn't make the rough or you did something. And I think rather than try to bow up and be defensive of an idea or a position, it's worked out better for me to take the authentic approach and like, yeah, we recovered from that, but we should have done it faster,
Sure.
or I didn't, hey, I made the wrong call when I did that. And I think you'll find employees, customers, a lot of people will give you grace with this authenticity.
Yeah, and it's a huge part. I heard an analogy one time of, it's like a bouncy ball, right? If you make a small mistake, it's like you drop it from a small distance and it bounces back up, and that's okay. You can catch
Mm-hmm.
it. Um, but if you make a big mistake, you better bounce back really, 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 really big. And just
Yeah.
recognizing like, okay, I need a rebound from this one. That ball got slammed down and bounced back up. It's got to go higher than where it started from.
Sure.
I've got to go above and beyond, right? If you have a bouncy ball and you start here and you slam it down, it's going to go, 30 feet higher than where you started. So
Right.
you have to over appreciate or overcompensate for that mistake,
Yeah.
not just make it right, but go
Right.
above and beyond so
That
that
would
you have credibility for the next time.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that annoys the heck out of me is when, we're working with a supplier or a metal finisher or someone, and they're not, living up to their commitment, et
Yep.
cetera. And you're trying to get them on the phone, you're trying to get them to return, and they just hide.
Mm, mhm,
Right.
mhm, mhm.
That does no one any good. Right.
Right.
I get it. Things happen. You
Yep.
lose employees. Machine goes to, I get it. But geez, please communicate. Right.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I've preached to my team is, we're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to make some big mistakes. But what I do expect is that we communicate that and with authenticity to the customer.
Yes.
And what our recovery plan is, and I think we've built up a lot of credibility with our customers by doing that.
I
But
think that's all it
don't
takes.
hide. Yeah.
Is you have to be willing to address your mistake, right? Say I screwed something up, and then this is how I'm going to make it right for you. We had a similar situation with a supplier, and we were giving them a chance, and the first go around, we'd never heard back from them. They promised a delivery date. We never heard back from them. Now it was pushing us back further and further. We kept having to reach out to them and communicate with them. And finally we had them come in and we had a conversation and we said, listen, everybody makes mistakes. Stuff happens. We get it.
Yeah.
All we're asking for is for communication. Let us know, like we're behind. Okay.
Right.
We're going to bring this to you the next day. This is what's going on in our cycle.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, then most times people are reasonable and they go, okay, I get it. We have the same problem. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks for letting me know.
Yeah.
And then you can squash it and put it to bed and move forward.
Mm-hmm.
It's when, like you're saying, people ghost you and they hide out and they don't want to recognize that they've made a mistake or something's happened to put you in a negative position, because now you have to explain to your customer why you're late, and it's your reputation on the line when
That's
it's
right.
not necessarily your fault. And
Yeah.
you probably, like me, you find yourself in that situation where you have to call a customer and say and make kind of make some stuff up, because
Yeah.
you can't pass the buck and say, well, I'm waiting for this guy. You
Yeah.
just have to take that ownership and say, I'm sorry, we're not ready yet, but when we are, it's going to be perfect. We're going to
Yeah.
need a couple extra days, and we're gonna come out and give you some extra service. We're sorry for the delay.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. It buys you a lot of grace.
Yeah. I want to do a couple shout outs. Rich Thiel is here. He's going to be on the show pretty soon. We had an opportunity to go golfing a couple weeks ago, and when I was talking about the golf outing, he said, "Don't you dare say you aren't a good golfer." I think good is a relative term. So just because somebody else might be bad doesn't necessarily make me good. And I'm not saying Rich is bad. I'm just saying that, I've played with some really good golfers like Alex Hoffer. And so to him, when I play with him, I'm not good at all. I'm terrible. Matt Goosey says, I might be better looking than Mitch, but for as smarts, he says, not as smart. So apparently Matt thinks he's better looking than you, but you are far more brilliant. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think it's the opposite.
Oh, so Matt is smarter than you, but you are the model.
Exactly.
Our guy Kyle Healy is listening with us. He says he loves the GLS, and I'm going to say, if you are somebody that is trying to explore leadership and leadership with morality behind it, the GLS is a great option. They have a program. It's really ridiculous how cheap it is. It's $300 for the year, and you get 6 years. I believe it's 6 years worth of Global Leadership Summit speakers that you can share with up to 25 members of your team, so that you can learn and grow and chat and discuss together how you're going to improve your company And what's crazy is one live GLS attendee is like $200, and you get 6 years worth for 300. And so
Mhm.
it's a no brainer. It's Global Leadership Summit. I mean, if you just look up Global Leadership Summit, Team 365, you will be able to find that. My guy Corey Cunningham is saying hello. Oh, man, I met Corey a long time ago at the gym, and that's all we're going to say about that. And Rich says it's easier to fix the problem than hide from it and battle a poor reputation for years to come. Man,
Exactly.
and I'm not gonna lie. When Rich says that, I feel a little bit convicted in that situation. There was a point where Rich bought a laser engraver from us, and at the time, we were importing the engravers, and then we were taking them apart, rebuilding the mechanics, and utilizing some of the same software. And Rich called me and was like, "Did you just like overcharge me for a Chinese laser engraver?" And him being a friend of mine, he felt comfortable asking me that question. And I had to explain to him what we actually do and what that looks like. But what we didn't do is change the body style at all. And so
Mhm.
he was able to find something that looked exactly like what he had bought without knowing that we do a lot of work on the internals. But I feel like, and Rich, I'm not asking you to, comment on this. You can, but I feel like for a while that it kind of hurt our relationship because he didn't know where, what was what. And so, I'm sorry for that confusion. I'm saying that publicly now. I'm sorry for that
Yeah.
confusion, Rich. But we did make the product better. I'll
Yeah.
stick with that.
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
So
Mhm.
some of the things that we were going to talk about is the idea that manufacturing is leading the new wave of wealth creation in America. What does that look like to you?
Yeah. Well, to me, what that looks like is anytime you have a, a, a shortage of capacity,
Yep.
which is what happens now. Now, obviously, not in all sectors of manufacturing. I'm speaking a little more specifically around manufacturing as it relates to the aerospace and defense sector, right? The barrier to entry has gotten very high.
Hmm.
It's very hard for someone to start up and jump into the aerospace and defense sector without a lot of capital and
A lot
quite
of
frankly,
certifications.
yeah, quite frankly, a bit of experience because you have to have you kind of the cost of entry now is your AS 9100 certificate, which and put over and above just getting an audit, right? You got to put everything in place and you got to manage that. And in our case, we have an AS, a manager that just manages the quality system on the
Sure.
payroll, right? So you have to have that. You of course got to get your ITAR certification. Everything goes with that. And then now we have NIST 800-171/CMMC. So your cybersecurity, IT system infrastructure, and that's very expensive, right? And now I have a full-time cybersecurity expert on staff just managing our NIST 800-171 CMMC.
Yeah.
Probably spent about $300,000 just getting things in place. You know, some of the technologies we had chosen around some cloud-based things we're not able to use anymore because they don't meet NIST 800-171 requirements or ITAR compliant. And so I had to revert on some of the technology decisions and look at everything from the routers that we use to physical security. So the point being, to get a business playing at the right level to attract certain work uh, is a very expensive proposition today, and not
Yeah.
just to get there, but to maintain it. Right? It's very hard, I think, for a long time, and even today. The person that was a machinist or a fabricator, they save up a little money, they get a space, they buy a machine and finance it, and they're in business. That's a tough spot to be in today to
Sure.
grow, right? Because until you get all the stuff that I just discussed, you are competing with the world,
Yeah.
and that's a lower margin, you know, tough business, right? So the goal is to be able to climb above that noise and eliminate the competition. So I think if you're able to get to that level where you're in the top tier, then from what I see, the amount of work that is out there is way, way more than there are shops that meet those criteria and certifications.
Interesting.
And that the margins are much stronger than if you're playing sort of in the commercial sector. And I think this is true not just of aerospace and defense, but any other industry that's highly regulated, right?
Yeah.
Medical devices, et cetera. Wherever stuff is highly regulated, you've separated yourself from some of the global competition. And I'm in a unique position because with MFG.com, I had offices all over the world. We're a global business. I had offices in Shanghai, Seoul, South Korea, in Vietnam, in Paris, Munich, Geneva. And so I had the opportunity to travel and visit, manufacturing businesses all over the world and to see, how good they are, whether that be in Eastern Europe or that be in Vietnam or that be in China or Taiwan, Malaysia. There's some really, really good businesses out there that have an unfair advantage. And they have unfair advantages because of currency manipulation, government subsidy of raw materials, et cetera, et cetera. And so that's a tough position if you are a small manufacturing business in the U.S. focused on commercial business and you're having to compete with overnight shipping from somewhere in the world.
Yep. Well, I mean, you just go to a trade show and you can see different countries bring in hundreds of vendors, and all created around one booth, separated out. But there is that government subsidy, and so it does put a strain on the U.S. manufacturer to try and compete with that in a global economy. And now you're making me think I got to go back and look at different certifications and everything so that we can get into a different area.
Yeah. So I have one very large aerospace and defense customer, who they've gone 100% that they'll only deal with suppliers that are very, very far along on their NIST 800-171 and have a certain score. And I spoke to that buyer like 4 or 5 months ago, I remember. And he called me up and he said, I lost 80% of my suppliers when we started.
Wow.
And he said, I'm not saying you can charge me what you want, but pretty much. and that's just creating opportunity for those who could get there. And it's there for anyone. But it does require capital and probably a little more sophistication than typically has.
Sure. Jack, there was a question or something you said to me today. You said, it's really interesting. Every person we talk to wants to talk about this. What was that?
What I've noticed is throughout the different shows that we've done is everybody has brought up the skills gap and their own ideas or perspectives on how to get rid of that or how to solve that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have thoughts on what we can do to help mitigate that skills shortage?
So I do, and it's sometimes not very popular, but I'll tell you what it is. So first of all, I mean, there's the obvious, right? Bring back trade school programs at a greater rate.
Yep.
I just interviewed a guy yesterday who's up in a place in Virginia. That's an accelerated machining course, right? But it's still good. But so he's like, it's like a 4-month accelerated course to get aerospace and defense machining. Still going to take them years, right? All right. So I think we open up a rapid immigration or green card pathway.
Okay.
For those people around the world that have advanced manufacturing skills.
Okay.
They're in Eastern Europe. They're in Taiwan. They're in China. China's a little more suspect for a number of reasons. They're in Vietnam. There are incredible machinists and manufacturing technicians all around the world that would love to come to America, right?
Yep.
Now, because if you're a fashion model, you get an accelerated green card, right? I mean, a huge percentage of the green cards go to IT people. They're coming out of India. We don't need more IT people here.
No, we don't.
They can do it remotely, right?
Yeah.
And so it's, if you're a professional athlete, you can get an accelerated green card. If we want to revive the industry, let's bring some people here on a green card or some visa that allows them to be here for X number of years to act as mentors to help train that generation that's up and coming in order to fill the gap, train the people that we need trained, and then, we can decide to welcome them as permanent citizens or not. But I think there's amazing talent all over the world that would love to come here and help fill all these open positions that we have.
So why do you think that is such an unpopular position, and two, that it's not being done yet? I mean, if all these other industries that you're talking about, this is the way they do this.
Yeah.
Why is this any different?
Well, because they consider those other industries, you have to have an advanced degree or some special talent, like your professional athlete. I don't know how a model fits into that.
Well, but, they make the world a better place to look at.
Maybe we should just hire beautiful machinists. I don't know. But
that's even harder to find than a machinist.
It is. But I mean, I put this out in an article a number of years ago that I wrote for Forbes, and I got lambasted where people like, oh, he's trying to bring in foreigners to take American jobs. I mean, come on, dude. It's like if we didn't have the gap that we have and the shortage in every manufacturing business I know needing talent, and the fact that it takes years to ramp that talent, sure. But we don't have that. We have a shortage. We have a serious shortage of manufacturing talent. And there are people around the world. There are incredible machinists throughout Latin America, throughout Eastern Europe, friendly countries. We don't have to go to China. Let's say you've got Taiwan, Malaysia, Vietnam, that have great sectors and people that would love to come here and help and fill these jobs. We'll go. We're letting all the people come across the southern border with no skills. Let's do it in a way to bring in people that you have to have advanced manufacturing skill, and then we'll make it rapid, a good way for you to get here, earn a decent wage, help us train that next generation, and revive our manufacturing sector.
I think you hit a lot of great things. And I think part of it is people don't even realize what it takes to make anything.
Yeah.
We are in such an instant gratification society that when you show somebody what it takes to make a ballpoint pen for Pete's sake, they can't believe the level of sophistication, technology, and effort that goes into making a pen. Mm-hmm. And so to say that we need people to work here, we need to bring people in because they have that knowledge, they have no idea that those jobs even exist.
Right.
And they're offended and upset about something that they don't know anything about. It's like the Washington Redskins logo, right? Where the Native Americans, indigenous people, are suing the Washington Redskins for changing their logo from Chief Redskin to the Commanders or whatever they are now, because they felt, the indigenous people felt a sense of pride that was a real person. A Chief Redskin was a real person that was emblazoned on a team uniform and recognized, and they felt a sense of pride. But the people that have nothing to do with it are offended and upset. And that's just like this, right? If you don't work in manufacturing, you have no desire to get into manufacturing, then you don't understand the limitations and the gaps and the needs that manufacturing has. So shut up.
That's right. That's right. So anyway, that's what I think would be a way to help us rapidly bridge that gap, rebuild our sector. Right. So.
My father told me he started working at Chandler Corporation as an apprentice. Chandler is a fantastic mold builder. They're still great. They're in Chicago. He said when he was there, they were just all Germans, like German, not German heritage, but like Germans.
Yeah.
And there was no hiding the fact that they were German. Like that was their background. That's what made them great. They were German mold makers and machinists, and they
Mhm.
demanded a level of excellence, and they still
Oh,
do, that
yeah.
only comes from Germans.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. How many German machinists would love to come here on a 3-year or 5-year visa, right? Great experience for
Right.
them, their family. We could use them. Friendly nation. So anyway, I'll quit ranting about that. But I think but I think it's something that we should consider.
I think it's a great solution because, like you said, even if you have the greatest program today, you launch it today, the greatest program to teach people mold making or machining or manufacture, whatever sector of manufacturing that is, you've got 5 to 10 years before they're ready to be
Yeah.
super professionals to lead the next group of people to be able to do that again.
Right. That's right.
And he was saying, like, what happened, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how did we get that skills gap in the first
Mm-hmm.
place?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great question. So, I mean, it was about like 1988 when Chairman Mao opened up China to the world, and he declared that China was going to become the world's manufacturing leader. They established incredible programs. I mean, you get in China, they have universities, 4-year programs in machining and fabrication. They're just putting them out in droves. They're highly educated, very good machinists. I've been to many factories and shops in China, and then of course what happened? The U.S. companies rushed to China to take advantage of the labor arbitrage, right? They went there at that time. I think, labor was, 10, 15 cents an hour for
Yeah.
highly skilled labor that was being educated. So when the U.S. rushed there, there were no jobs for manufacturing folks in America. We had a plethora. We had too many people and not enough jobs. So the trade schools shut down their programs. Companies quit their apprenticeship programs. And being in manufacturing was not a good career because there just weren't jobs. It all went to China. And so then we skipped an entire generation that didn't get trained, educated in it, didn't have the opportunity. And here we find ourselves.
Yeah. It's a weird situation. And then, one of the things that we talk about often is the idea that, people, consumers want to have sustainable products. They want to
Mm-hmm.
have quality products. They want to have better wages for employees. They want universal health care. They want all these things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know any employers or business owners who wouldn't also love those things.
Yeah.
The problem becomes the consumer doesn't want to spend extra money to attain these products and these things. So we
Mm-hmm.
want Amazon Chinese prices,
Yeah.
but we require and demand American quality and quality and not service, but yeah, service and
Mm-hmm.
treatment of people. Where
Yeah.
in China you don't get that, so you can make
No.
things cheaper.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Very cheap. It's
And so
like,
those
yeah.
labels that say "Made in America" are really, really important, and they're
Mm-hmm.
going to tell you that this product is more expensive. But
Yeah.
if you really, really, really believe what you say,
Mm-hmm.
and you have your integrity, and you say, "I demand these things from the places I purchase from,"
Yeah.
well, then you're going to start buying American.
Right. Right. We had I saw a bid package a month or so ago from a very large American motorcycle brand that is
Sure,
well
sure,
known.
sure.
And they said they're concerned and they want to start moving work from China to America.
Hmm.
Well, they put their target prices in there, which were obviously the China price.
Right.
I'm like, I didn't even quote it because they called me and says, why aren't you quoting? I said, there's no freaking way I could come close to matching those China prices. And they
Right.
go, yeah, but we can't raise the prices on our motorcycles. So if we can't get it for that price. So to your point, right, as consumers,
Uh,
they'd probably have to raise the price 20, 30% on their motorcycles to bring the work back to America.
or certain people I'm not saying that. Listen, I am not saying that certain people should not make lots of money. I'm all for people making lots of money.
Mhm.
But if you're saying we can't raise our motorcycle prices. Well, maybe the people at the top level that
Mhm.
want those prices to come down, maybe they need to take a pay cut because they're asking you to take a pay cut as the manufacturer
Mhm.
to help them make more money and say that they're American made. So you got to
Yeah.
look at yourself in the mirror and say, okay, where do I have to cut to
Mhm.
deliver this product? Like we talked about in the beginning about
Yeah.
having about treating your customer right and all those things.
Yeah.
What are you saying is most important? Is it you making more money or is it you delivering what your customer wants?
Mhm.
Now, I can't ask all my manufacturers to lower all their prices so that I can
Mhm.
sell things for the same amount of money and I can make all the money. That's not
Mhm.
fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're in a capitalist society, and everybody's looking out for their best capital interest, right?
Of
I mean,
course.
the stock market, public companies, the stock market does not reward them for doing altruistic things, being a good corporate citizen. The
No.
stock market and the public rewards them for profits, right?
Right.
For growth. If you go flat, your stock gets hit. If you don't produce profits, or you get killed. So if you do something that maybe is good, our systems doesn't reward that.
Sure.
So,
Sure. And the consumer doesn't necessarily reward it either.
mm-mm. No, no. So our capitalistic. Now, I am 100% capitalist, nothing else. But our
Yeah.
but our system is designed where it rewards those who make profits.
Right.
So
Right. And profit is not a dirty word
no,
at all. It's a great word. It's what allows people, it's what allows businesses to continue to hire people
yeah,
and increase
and
wages and treatment and all those things.
buy machine tools
Yeah,
and all those things have downstream effects of creating jobs.
that's right. That's right. So profit is not a dirty word. I
No,
just get hung up on the idea like when the consumer looks at it and they say, we want all these things, but we're not
yeah,
willing to pay any more money. Well,
yeah.
where does that
Well,
come from?
yeah, we've become spoiled with the China price, right?
Yes.
We look at Walmart, right? And everything's in there is pretty darn inexpensive. I would say,
Yes.
and we've become spoiled with the China price, and it's hard to I mean, it's hard to go otherwise and say I'm willing to pay more money when families are already struggling and not having a lot of money left over at the end of the week or the end of the month.
Yep.
It's hard for them to consider paying. You've got the product from China for X dollars, or the one from the U.S. for 1.3x. I mean, they're
Yep.
trying they're trying to survive, and I get that.
Yep. I'm right there with you.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts? Are we going to have a large recession?
I think we're going to have a recession. I think how large, I don't know, and I think some sectors are going to be affected a lot more than others, right?
Sure.
I think real estate's going to take a decent hit, and I think other sort of discretionary or more consumer related items. I think automobiles. People will probably hold off a little longer on buying a new car, on that. Maybe so certain things I think that could be held off as discretionary spending. I think so, I think we're going to see that. And then as a result of that, then we'll sort of swing the pendulum the other way. These are cycles I've seen multiple times in my life for being around for a while. And so what do we do? We'll drop interest rates. Interest rates will make things seem cheap because you can borrow money cheap. We'll spur the economy. We'll spur it too much. We'll have a heyday for 4, 5, 6 years spending, and then we'll say, oh my God, we got to slow the economy. It's a cycle that just repeats
Sure.
itself over and over and over. So I think we're going into I think we're going to have a recession, and I think that we will overcorrect as we always do, and it'll be great times again, and then it will be But I do think if again from my own lens, looking at the aerospace and defense sector, I don't think there's going to be a recession there. If you look
Okay.
at what's going on in the world right now, between Ukraine and in the Middle East, with between Israel and Iran, Taiwan's build up to protect themselves as China is circling. And then we're helping support our allies. I think we're consuming or dispersing a lot of weapon systems that are going to need to be replaced.
Yep.
And then I think there's a lot of new technologies in weapon systems that we're pursuing at the moment. So I think the aerospace and the defense sector in particular, it's going to be very robust, and not subject to the recession.
Sure.
But anyway, that's my thoughts there.
No, I love it. So for your business, you're not planning for the recession.
No, never have. I always think, I'm going to figure out a way to just bulldoze through. Right?
I love that so much.
Yeah.
I heard a guy say one time, and I've stolen it. I don't remember who I heard it from, but I love it so much. I refuse to participate in the recession.
Yeah. And along that same vein, one of my sayings is, you can't win trying not to lose.
Yeah, no. You got to every time you do that, whether it's hockey, baseball, fill in the gap.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever you start to coast, you get the most dangerous lead in a hockey game is 3-0.
Mm-hmm.
Because you coast, and then all of a sudden, bang bang, you're down. It's 3-2 before you know it, because you've decided, like, let's play defense. Right. Let's not get scored on instead of doing what got you there in the first place.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
So we just need to put our foot all the way down, just floor that thing. Just
put blinders on and just ignore it. And just, it doesn't apply to me. It doesn't apply to me. Just keep chanting that. I'm not in a recession.
when COVID came around, the only thing that we did was cut our advertising, because we were spending a good amount of money. I thought was a good amount of money, and we needed to make sure that we were going to be able to keep all of our team. We didn't want to have to let somebody go just because, they're a great employee, but we don't know what's going on. And so we said, all right, if we cut our advertising, that's one salary for the year that we can guarantee to be able to keep.
Mm-hmm.
And we just started going. I mean, we just kept going. We didn't change. We didn't dial back. We didn't eliminate things, and we just kept going forward.
Mm-hmm.
And our business grew during COVID without doing any advertising.
Fantastic.
And it became one of those things where it's just like, okay, this big scary thing is out there, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we have to pay attention to it.
Yeah.
Let's just keep being us. Let's look at this challenge as what it is, a challenge, and say, okay, this is in front of us. Mm-hmm. How do we beat it? How do we get better? How do we move forward? How do we continue to take care of the people around us, and also be able to do our work and shift and pivot? And what we found was there were so many companies that just waved the white flag and said, COVID's here. We can't do it. We're going to close.
Yeah.
We're going to close our doors for a few weeks, or, we're going to do this or we're going to do that. And we just said, no, one of my favorite people, Scott Phipps, he says, damn the torpedoes. He's like the rhino, just bulldoze right through it. Like, we are not slowing down. We are going full steam ahead, and we will achieve our goals, and we will do the things that we need to do. Doesn't matter what's in our way. We're going to get through it together.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a real testament to the value that you've been delivering to your customers, all in all, to be able to continue to do that. Turn back marketing and continue to do that. And, and have a workforce that stood there, that stood there with you. So it's a real testament to your business there.
I was really proud of our team and what we were able to do in that time period. And it's carried through to today. I mean, it's been a great thing for all of us in general. So, yeah. All right, Mitch, you want to play 5 questions with Jack?
Let's do it.
All right.
Make them easy.
Well, they're not. They're
fun.
Yeah. I mean, I think we handled all the very difficult stuff. These will be the lighthearted questions for you.
Yeah. All
Good.
right. We got the cool music going on.
Okay.
I think
it'll start eventually.
There we go.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Right.
Sport do you feel you could have been a contender for?
Ping pong.
Ping pong. Why is that?
Well, I have my wife is Malaysian. She's Asian, and she's like a ping pong champion. So just playing with her has allowed me to up my game.
So when she plays, does she like do the thing where you pause and you're like,
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Off the table, spin the ball. I don't even have a chance. By the time it hits, it's heading off at 90 degrees. So, yeah.
I found that some of my favorite sports to watch in the Olympics were ping pong and badminton.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because you never think that that's how that's supposed to be played.
No, they're good. They're good.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We were watching the women's finals
Yeah.
for the Olympics, and they're just going back and forth, like not even a second in between hits, and it was the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, I probably could have competed with that Australian woman in breakdancing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was but would you want to? That was the most absurd thing I ever saw.
She got 0 points. I think that's got to be a first.
I would think at 0 points she came out ahead of what she deserved.
Yeah. Too bad it wasn't a negative. Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess good for her for going out there, and that's like, all those men who go to weddings with their wives and they think, I'm gonna be embarrassed, I can't go dance. This woman did it on a national stage. Like, we got nothing. Just have yourself a beer and go.
And she owned it.
Figure it out. She did.
She owned it.
She owned that disaster for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Jack, what do you got for question number 2?
Next one. All right. What minor inconvenience bothers you the most for no real reason?
Minor inconvenience. I'm having a hard time thinking of that thing, of what that is. It's probably like anyone else. It's just waiting in line. I just don't like to wait in lines. It's just a waste of time. Time's valuable. We got a lot to do. I just don't like waiting in lines. So I'll go on to the next place.
Yeah.
I think that makes sense. Jack, do you have one?
I don't. One that doesn't come to mind, but I know what I like doing to people. I like to annoy my sister because she's my younger sister, and I'll just like take things and slightly move them out of reach to where. Yeah, see, and it gets her so annoyed because it's just out of reach to where she can't lean over and get it, and so she'd have to just barely get up and grab it, and just slightly move it every time. I enjoy it, but
yeah, that's funny. A little disturber.
I would agree with you with waiting in lines. I think sometimes that could be a bit absurd.
Yeah.
And especially because, like we've talked about with a lot of things, it seems like people don't care.
Yeah.
Like the people at the cashier or whatever, they're so lackadaisical lately and lethargic and just
no sense of urgency.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the customer care. Like they're not there to serve their customer or for any sort of greater good or mission, unless you go to Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A is a different situation. But you go to we were on vacation and we went to, I don't know, Hardee's or something. They wouldn't even let us in the building. They weren't allowing people in the building. And when we got the sandwiches, it was like I took a bite and just wanted to throw the thing away. You wait in the drive-thru for that long to get just straight garbage. But
yeah.
I would say a big inconvenience for me is getting gas. I hate getting gas. It's the worst.
Yeah. Go electric. I bought a Rivian a year ago. I got the R1S, the SUV.
Do you love it?
I love it. Best vehicle I've ever owned. Honestly, it's incredible. Now I kept my Tahoe, so I still have an ICE vehicle, but I absolutely love it. And the thing that hits me, I didn't do it because I think it's better for the environment. I actually don't think it is, but I love the technology.
Sure.
I love the technology. I love the acceleration. The instant acceleration from those 4 motors is 835 horsepower. Just throws your head back. It's fun to drive. But what hits me as I have gotten experience in that vehicle is the lack of parts. I mean, there's no engine. There's no transmission. There's no rear end differential. And it's hit me that, wow, it's like a battery and 4 motors.
Yeah.
That's an interesting impact that is going to have if we continue to go electric.
We've considered because we have 3 Sprinter vans, a flatbed, 3 pickup trucks. We've got all these cars out on the road, and the amount of money we spend on pickups and deliveries and
Mhm.
gas and oil changes and engines going out and all that stuff. We've contemplated buying some sort of electric vehicles
Mhm.
for the local fleet that we need to do.
Mhm.
Obviously, we don't want to do it when we're driving to South Carolina because
Yeah.
you're going to really cut back on your time getting there unless you
Mhm.
floor it the whole way and while you're not getting your charging stations. But
Yeah.
I agree with you that I don't think I wouldn't do it for the environmental friendly aspect
Right.
of a vehicle. I would look at it purely from a financial investment perspective where
Mhm.
you don't have to buy gas, you don't have to get oil changes, you don't have to worry about your transmission going out, you don't have to worry about any of that other stuff.
Right.
So you're going to save money on that end.
Yeah. Yeah.
Question 3.
All right, question 3. If you could have any superpower, what would it be?
That would be to fix the health insurance system in America. It is so broken. The health insurance, the health system. Oh my God, it's such a disaster. If I can wave a wand and fix healthcare so that everyone had great healthcare that was affordable, and there wasn't the haves and the have-nots in terms of healthcare, I think that would do a lot for our nation and our country and our citizens that deserve it, because it is not fair that those that have good insurance or have money can go get the better health care and those that don't have access. Every life matters. Every life counts. And that's one of the things that I think about that bothers me is that we have a have and a have not system when it comes to medical care. So
yeah, I've never heard that as a superpower. You'd be healthcare man.
Yeah.
You would just go and clean up all the messes that all the other superheroes make, and just be like, you have healthcare, and you have healthcare, and you have healthcare.
Exactly.
You'd be like Oprah following behind the Avengers, just cleaning up all their messes and making sure that they were taken care of.
Yeah, exactly.
We're looking at our insurance, our health insurance premiums for work are coming in now, and it's man, it's just crazy how every year it just goes up and up and up and up and up and up, and it's one of those things where you feel helpless because there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah. We just switched July 1st to a new type of model that's heavily involved around self-pay, and I've gotten quite an education that when you go into the doctor or a office visit, and they're going to charge you to insurance. I don't know, it's $300, $400. Yep. If you go in and you tell them I'm going to do self-pay and you pay at the time of service, it's about $100, 25% of what they.
Oh, really?
So there's a new business model around that where basically we pay money into a claims fund. Okay. Our employees have a debit card that pulls from our claims fund, and they present themselves as self-pay customers. Okay. And we're getting about 25% of the claim dollars as we were getting whether it was an insurance claim.
Now, let me ask you on that, because I've heard other people doing that, and I think that's great for. I have a cold and I need to go see the doctor. How have you had to implement this with? I know you mentioned that you had cancer. Have you had to implement this in any sort of catastrophic situation, and did it pay off as well?
Not at this point. At this point. So far, it's just been a little over a month that we started.
Okay, all right.
But I do know one of the founders of the company is a surgeon, and he used an example that if you go to the hospital where he's a surgeon and you get a gallbladder surgery, it's $24,000.
Yeah.
If you go to him directly and self-pay, so he gets his money at the time of surgery, it's $6,000.
Okay. I mean, it would be interesting. I mean, when you're looking at something, like I said, my mom My mother suffered from lymphoma. She's in remission now. She's great.
Mhm.
But I know what those bills were
Yeah,
for that long of a process.
sure. No, it's
And
okay.
that's what we keep talking
Yeah.
about is like, okay, fine. I could see it for, a simple surgery, you're going to come out ahead. But when it's this catastrophic thing, Brian Warren was on the show last week, and his son Jake has been dealing with cancer for the last 18 months or so. And, that's a monster. And that's a thing that can bankrupt a company.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you do have an insurance policy that backs up that in case you have a catastrophe. Yeah. There's an insurance policy for that.
Well, then that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, insurance man, number 4.
Who inspires you and why?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say my father has been it inspires me a lot. He's in his 80s now, still going strong, and he always made me, one of the things I'll always credit is he always made me believe I could do and be anything I wanted to be as long as I was willing to put in the effort and make good decisions. And I remember as a small child, he would we'd read a book or something, and he would say, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" I'm like, "I want to be a firefighter." And he's like, "Great, here's what you got to do." Now I said, "I want to be an astronaut." Awesome, here's what you got to do. And my father led me to believe, or caused me to believe, my only limitation in life was myself or the decisions that I made.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's one of the speakers at GLS was a guy named Will Guidara, and he wrote a book called Unreasonable Hospitality.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that his father was challenging him, and his father put it this way. He said, if there was one thing that you knew you wouldn't fail at, you couldn't fail at, what's that one thing you would do?
Mm-hmm.
Just that idea of exactly what you said, right? Like,
yeah.
Identify what that dream would be if you knew you would succeed, no matter what it was, how big or what it was. What is that one thing that you would want to do? And then go do that thing. I thought that was a great nugget and takeaway.
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right. Number, what are we at? 5? 5.
If animals could talk, what would be the rudest and why?
What would be the rudest? Oh my God! It's probably a hippopotamus.
Oh, that's the first hippopotamus. All right, why would you say a hippopotamus?
Oh, they just they're just dirty and they're big and they just move around without care. They bump into things and they're just self-centered, big dirty animals.
And I've heard that hippos are one of the most dangerous animals because they're extremely aggressive and they'll just like go and eat a boat.
Yeah. So I think that's my choice. Hippopotamus.
That's a good one. I've never heard hippopotamus says.
Yeah. Good.
Mitch, we always pray on this show. If you're still with us and you have any prayer requests, go ahead and put those in the comments on the chat. And I want to thank everybody that has been with us. And if you have any questions or thoughts for Mitch or for Jack and myself, go ahead and let us know what those are. Mitch, how should people reach out to you or talk to you more? How can they find out more about who you are and what you're doing?
Well, LinkedIn is a great way to do that. It's easy to find. There's not a lot of Mitch Freeds in the world. So
no, it's a great last name though, by the way. Is that real?
Yeah, it is. It is. That's very
awesome.
Real. Very real. I know it was always interesting. My mother always said that when she was pregnant with me, she had a lot of interesting name choices. She said, if you were a girl, I thought about gluten or fancy or sugar, or if you're a boy, like Jeff or Scott. So
yeah.
It's always been a good memorable name. So
that's awesome. So yeah, if anybody's looking to get a hold of Mitch, very accessible on LinkedIn. He's been extremely gracious with us as well. And he's got a lot of knowledge on there. And I'm sure I don't want to speak for you, but happy to help people if they have questions on certain things.
Absolutely. I think a rising tide lifts all boats.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Again, I'm gonna go back to this stupid global leadership summit. I love it. Craig
Mhm.
Rochelle says everybody, everybody improves when the leader gets better.
Yeah, yeah,
And I think that's what we need is more people asking the questions like you're asking, and with the information that you have,
yeah,
more leaders stepping into those roles and saying, how do we make a difference in the community, in the world, and the things around us,
yeah.
instead of just staying status quo. And the things that you've written about and talked about, um, you have good input on that. So thank you for being a thought leader in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
Do you have any prayer requests?
Uh, just I would just say, think about just praying for the world in general and all the conflict that can all people can live in peace and enjoy their life.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. All right. I'm going to pray and then I'm going to let you go because we've kept you longer than I think we anticipated, but it's been a great conversation. So I want to thank you for that before I forget.
Thank you.
All right, let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for today. Thank you for the opportunity to meet Mitch and talk to him and hear his thoughts and really just hear his passion for manufacturing and what he's doing. Remembering what he said, that all lives matter, every single one, and each and every one of us, and you created us with a purpose. And so, God, we just ask that you would help us to fulfill those purposes, and that we wouldn't look at the person next to us or across from us or on the other side of the country as our enemy, but as our neighbor, and that we would see them the way that you see them, as a image bearer of you. And so, God, we just ask that you would be with the people that are listening to this, that whatever that they might be struggling with, whether it's health or finances or stress or relationships, we just pray that you would be with them and they would feel your comfort, and that they would know that you're in control, and they could put their faith in you because you love them. And all you ask is that we surrender our lives to you. And so we just pray that, man, maybe somebody would do that today, or they would hear this and go, "That sounds pretty good. I think I want that." And so we just thank you for today. We thank you for Mitch and this conversation, and what might happen in the world because of it. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Mitch, thank you, my friend. It's been a
My pleasure.
pleasure to get to know you over this last hour and 23 minutes.
Yeah, I
Uh,
enjoyed
I,
it.
I definitely appreciate the time, and I would love to try and find some time to do this again with you at a later date. Come up with some new topics and see
Okay,
what that looks like.
just let me know. I'll be happy to do it.
All right, thank you, brother. Have a good one.
Here, Jack, take care. Good to meet you as well. Bye.
All right, bye. Well, that was another episode. Jack, what did you think of that episode?
I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I really liked everything that we dove into. I mean, what's interesting is we started with certain notes about what we wanted to talk about with Mitch, and it really kind of shifted.
It did into a what I think was way more interesting.
Yeah, I would agree with you. I
You
mean,
know?
not that what we were going to talk about wasn't interesting, but what I find is that when you let your guard down and you truly authentic with people and you have conversations, then all those real things come out, and the conversation gets better. Jack, what did you think of the Global Leadership Summit?
Oh man, I thought it was really good.
I'm sensing a pattern here. Who was your favorite speaker at the
Oh
GLS?
man, my favorite was by far Coach K.
Coach K, yeah.
Yeah, he was the bomb diggity. Let me find him. Where is he?
I think what was really cool with Coach K is he could back up everything he was saying with results and experience.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't present as somebody that was egotistical or the best person in the room.
No, it was just like you were talking, like you said, let your guard down, and it just becomes like you talking with another person, which is great, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So what did you find that what hit you from his talk?
What I liked the most, from his talk was when he talked about accountability and how accountability is a thing that's kind of dying out. And he said, accountability is dying out. Telling people the truth is accountability. And for some reason, people don't want to do that. And it kind of makes sense when, the certain culture of cancel culture, which is if you don't like what I say and it goes against the stereotypical norm, whether it's based in reality or not, you're going to get canceled and you're going to pay for that.
Right.
And so, with the loss of accountability and how there's no self-check, it's always typically you look at the other person, you go, well, what the heck? Why would you say that to me?
Yeah.
And you just close it off. You don't acknowledge it and you just keep moving on with your life. And you see that with all of the insane people who have the spotlight today.
Yeah. I would agree with that. And I think what's difficult with accountability is you don't need accountability when people are thriving and having success and making good decisions. You need accountability when when there's conflict and issues arise. And nobody likes being having their feet put to the fire and being told that they're wrong. It hurts our ego. But I think it's important to do that with two important parts, and they talked about it at the summit. I might have been Craig Rochelle. Grace and truth, right? So you have to speak truth to people, but you also have to do it with grace and not because I said so.
Yeah.
So I would highly recommend, Kyle's going to probably, say the same thing. I would highly recommend, if you are a thought leader, if you're a leader in your business, if you're a leader in your community, man, if you're a leader on your shift at work in your department, I would highly encourage you to look at being part of the Global Leadership Summit next year, or even just going on, checking out the website and being part of the Leader 365 program. I get nothing from this for throwing that out there. I bought it myself. I can't wait to share certain things with our team. I think it's incredibly worthwhile. I think one of the things that people miss is that we are surrounded by leaders and influencers in every aspect of our life. And I'm not talking about like Instagram influencers. I'm not talking about, the Hawk Tool girl being an influencer. I'm not talking about the people that we see on social media. I'm talking about the people in our everyday lives that if they're upset, we're upset. If they're happy, we're happy. If they're learning, we're learning. Those are the kind of influencers that I'm talking about. And everybody in every sphere and every part of their life influences the people around them. And for $300, I think you can get some incredible knowledge and experience. If for nothing else, for what we learned about this year at the Global Leadership Summit, whether it was Coach K or Johnny Erickson Tata, amazing conversations. It goes on and on and on and on and on. I'm currently reading the Will Guidara book on reasonable hospitality. I'm 2 chapters in, and it's already worth the money I spent. Jack and I bought 10 books, 11 books, something like that. We got a lot of reading to do and a lot of growing to do. And listen, whatever we learn, we're going to try and pass along here on our podcast, Manufacturing Alliance, because that's what we're here to do is grow manufacturing as a whole and make all of us better together. So, forgot to mention this. So if you stuck around this long, kudos to you. Justine Ewald from the TMA and I have started a new project that is going to do just that. It's going to help people understand manufacturing and share knowledge and experience. We shot the first episode, and it's a lot of fun, and it'll be coming out soon. A lot of it is, it's finding out what actually happens in these manufacturing plants in Illinois, what it takes to work there, how to learn those skills. And honestly, who's going to be the better employee. And after one episode, I'll let you guess who wins that. Yeah. Jack, anything to add?
I don't think so.
All right.
I think we're good.
I think we're good today. I want to thank everybody for watching and listening. I want to thank Mitch Free for his time. He's an incredibly valuable person, and genuine, and
He's fun.
He was a fun guy.
He's fun.
Yeah. It's a guy that I honestly, I hope to get to know a little bit better and continue to build this relationship with.
He's friend-shaped.
He's friend-shaped?
Yeah.
Oh. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
He's friend-shaped.
Yeah.
So on behalf of myself and Jack and Mitch, I want to say thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Take care and God bless.